This is the part 2 on this topic. In the first part, we have discussed 3 types of business communication: one way, two way, verbal, non-verbal, formal and informal. In this half, we are going to take up remaining 3 types of business communication which are there in front of you: internal or external, upward, downward, lateral communication, interpersonal or intrapersonal business communication, organizational or mass business communication. So this would be the agenda for this half this afternoon. So internal or external, both, so they are as slash, upward, downward and lateral. Basically we are discussing upward, downward and lateral communication, which could be within the organization and outside the organization. So internal means the communication is flowing within the business itself. Okay, so internal upward, what would be this particular type? So in internal upward communication, what is happening? The communication is happening from bottom to top. So I am giving answer to some survey, I am giving answer as a feedback, right? I am giving some report, I am submitting some form as a subordinate to my senior. That is an example of within the organization. So for internal means the communication is happening within the business, right? So upward, so first thing is it is within the business. Second is it is upward. So somebody from the junior level is submitting information to the senior level. So you are answering to some survey. Most of the time surveys are been floated by the HR manager about the experience. Feedback is being received. Reports are submitted by junior people to the senior. Some form is submitted. So they are the examples of internal upward communication. Same way, there could be a communication within the business, but it is coming down, right? So this is within the business, so it is internal. First of all, it should qualify the condition of internal. So communication taking place not with the business and somebody outside it. It is only amongst the employee of the company, right? But it is downward. So downward could be what? The example could be some memorandum or memo is being sent. Memo is being sent for some explanation, seeking some information, seeking some numbers, facts, figures, etc. Right? It could be anything regarding standard operating procedure. Let's say I as a sales head have asked my sales executive to submit a report on the revised standard operating procedure. So SOPs, right? SOPs are there in every business. So standard operating procedures are for everything. That if you have to seek a leave, these are the steps you shall be following. If you have to travel outstation for the business work, right? These are the steps. These are the formalities you need to complete. If you have to engage an external guest for dinner, you have to host a dinner or a lunch to any supplier or buyer or to anybody, officially, that is, I'm talking about the official dinner. These are the procedures. You need to seek these approvals. So we call them as standard operating procedures, SOPs. So the internal downward means that standard operating procedure is coming down, right? So somebody is giving you direction that follow this SOP in case you have to apply for leave, you have to invite somebody for dinner, if you have a guest visiting. You may have seen, I keep on traveling to many corporates to conduct sessions on training, some training on certain topics. So in case most of the companies have a waiting room outside, and if there is a guest, if I am seeing X person in a company, so he or she is supposed to come down to the waiting room or that lounge area and meet me there. I, as an external person, if I have no business with the business, I should not be entering the premise of the company. I would be entertained at the reception area only. This is the general guideline. So what is this? This is known to all the employees. So this is SOP of entertaining your personal guests or entertaining any individual who is there for any query, who is not engaged with us as a business buyer or supplier. Right? Somebody is going there as a for the first time to inquire about the products, to request for a meeting, or to hand over some documents. So this is a standard operating procedure which says how to deal with the visitors who are at this moment not doing any business with us. Maybe they are probable supplier or buyer, but as of date, if they are there in your premises to see XYZ person will not call him or her to his or her office, but will see the person, the visitor, in the lounge area. So this is known to everybody, and this is a standard operating procedure of dealing an first time visitor, unknown visitor. Okay, same way it could be any kind of procedure for any particular task in the organization. If the project is completed or to be initiated, then how should it be processed? Who should be writing to whom? What kind of form should be filled? What all information should be there? What all attachments should be there? So this is how it is known to the people working in the organization, that had there been this situation, I am supposed to follow these steps. So these steps basically are known as standard operating procedures, which flows from top to the bottom. So this is internal communication, but known as downward internal communication, because it's flowing from top to the bottom. Okay, internal lateral. So internal, as we have understood by this time, means within the organization. Internal lateral means it's not from top to bottom or bottom to top, but it is parallel, it is flat communication, it is at the same level, or if it is not at the same level, doesn't matter, both recipient and sender are engaged. They both have the opportunity to express themselves during the communication, and that is what is known as internal lateral communication. Example could be, for example, I am messaging to my boss. So he is my boss, and I am messaging that I have reached here. The client, I am here at the client's place, and the client is inquiring this. He is requesting for early delivery of the product and is ready to give us an order. Now my sales manager is on chat with me. He is answering me constantly on all the questions I am putting on the chat. So I am an executive, I am a junior to him, I am communicating with the senior, who is manager, who is decision making authority, but I am sitting with the client at client's place, probable client, right? And I am chatting with my boss so that I could finalize the deal there and then. And so you are seeking answer to the queries of the client from your boss, because you may not have the authority to decide on certain things. So that chat is an example of lateral communication, which is internal. Though person is not sitting inside, so you may question, ma'am is saying communication has to be within the business. So please believe me, mind my words. I am saying internal means it is amongst the employees. Doesn't mean within the premise. Somebody may be sitting at home, somebody may be sitting at client's office, somebody may be sitting at the road, in a hotel, in a cafeteria, or in a metro or a bus, right? Even then communication can take place. That chat which is happening between the sales executive and sales manager is internal communication. The both are not sitting within the premise of the business, but it is a lateral. This an example is of lateral because they both are getting the opportunity to respond to each other, to give the feedback immediately there and then. Emails are also another example of internal lateral communication. Messages are also the example of internal lateral communication, right? So these were the three things in internal. So we are discussing the type of internal and external. So internal, upward, downward and lateral. Same way we could have external communication. External communication is when the business is communicating to anybody outsider. This outsider, on the one hand we have any of the representative of the business. So that person forms the part of the organization as an employee. Doesn't matter senior or junior, doesn't matter the position, doesn't matter the location, but he or she is the part of ABC company. But that person is communicating on behalf of ABC company with somebody outsider, right? That particular communication will be known as external communication. So example could be that I am an employee of a company and I am reaching out to the taxation authority of the country to seek answer to a particular notification they have recently issued. You want to see either your company is exempted from that particular circular or not, or the compliance to that circular or not. So you are writing out to the person, you are reaching out by phone, you are making a phone call, or you are writing on the email. So whichever means it, or you are writing a letter, doesn't matter, whichever medium you may be using. But one employee of the company could, so in this example, person could be from the tax department of the company A, is reaching out to the government department to seek answer to the query he has. That is an example of external communication, right? Now, the second type which we would like to discuss in this half is interpersonal and intrapersonal communication. Interpersonal, as the name suggests, the communication to others. We are communicating with others by any medium, right? So this business communication interpersonal. So one employee of one department communicating to the another employee of the same department, or one employee of A department communicating to the employee of B department, one head of A department communicating with the head of the B department, C department, D department. They all are example of interpersonal. So we are communicating to someone else. For example, I am Dean of Commerce and Management at Gurugram University. I am talking to the Dean of let's say English department or Education department. So that is an interpersonal communication between the two. But if I am talking to myself, let's say today I am delivering this talk here at CEC on business communication. I go back home and I reflect. I reflect on what did I talk today? What did I cover today in my talk? What did I actually, what all examples I shared with you guys? How was my body language today? How was I dressed up today? If I'm thinking about it while going to the bed tonight, what is happening? I am talking to myself. Yeah, I am talking to myself, and this would be known as intrapersonal communication. So basically, I've seen many friends of mine reflecting on whatever they have done today before they go to bed, before they retire for the day. So there are many people who are conscious about their actions, and this is a very good habit. I'm not here encouraging a particular habit, but I'm sharing based on my own experience that this is a very good habit to reflect upon whatever we do, whatever we say. That really helps in developing good relations. That really helps you to grow as a good human being, to grow as a good professional. You are likely to be a better person by every passing day if you spend even few seconds on reflecting. And that particular communication, when you are communicating to yourself, is known as intrapersonal communication, right? So I hope you are clear with interpersonal and intrapersonal. Interpersonal business communication taking place amongst the employee or one employee with outsider, but there are two different entities, two different individuals involved. One from the business, one from the outside, two from the business, two from the same department, two from the other department. But so that is interpersonal. Intrapersonal, after the meeting, the manager is sitting and thinking about what happened in the meeting. So was that the right reaction I did? I scold my subordinates today. Was I correct, or should I be changing my strategy? It's working, it's not working. So we are talking about the business, but we are talking to ourselves. Okay. Now we have the third type of the communication, which is organizational and mass communication. So organizational and mass communication. Organizational communication means the communication is taking place by one person, but is meant for the business only, right? So within the organization, we are not circulating it to the outsider. We are circulating anything, but only for the consumption of the employees of the business. Let's say some standing operating procedure. If that standing operating procedure is being circulated, it flows from top to down, as I said, is an example of organizational communication. And if we prepare one brochure and we circulate it on the website as an admission brochure, and it is meant for everybody who is interested or not interested in our program but simply want to read about the program. So let's say we have actually admissions process going on, and we circulated admission brochure on the website, and this has been done by most of the educational institution. That is an example of mass communication. It's a written communication, but written mass communication, right? For example, most of the electronic companies, the companies which produce electronic products, they have the price list circulated to the agents, to the agencies they have engaged with. So those price lists are the dealer list, dealer price list, etc., etc. They are actually mass communication. They are available across all the dealers showrooms. Anybody can see it. It's a public information. It's not meant for one or two person or one or for the people within the company, right? So organizational communication, when anything from top to bottom or bottom to top or lateral, doesn't matter, verbal or non-verbal doesn't matter, but that communication is meant for the business, is internal, right? But it is not it's not meant for mass consumption. It is meant for a very small consumption within the department or outside the department, or maybe for the whole organization. But we are not covering the mass, very large population. So it has been said that whenever we are actually preparing or thinking for the mass communication, We should prepare the document very well, verbal, it could be verbal or written, both. We should practice before we say, or we should read it before we communicate, and then we should communicate, then we should perform, right? So this is how the mass communication should be planned for. So friends, I hope these types of business communication are clear to you. I shall be taking few examples now to help you understand that whatever we have discussed, just to reinforce that. So I am going to take a few questions now. Let's discuss that. Let's have a look at those MCQs. So let me see how well you could gather that. So what did you get is the next thing which we are going to take up now. So the first question in front of you is this: which of these is a positive facial expression? We discussed about verbal and non-verbal communication. So the first is staring hard. You are staring at somebody very hard. So think about, is this positive or not? Is this expression positive or not? Nodding while listening, wrinkled forehead, looking away from the speaker. So which of these four you think are a very positive expression? So friends, I don't know you could get the right answer or not, but the right option is B, nodding while you are listening. You are saying something to me and I'm saying, I am not using any word, I am not uttering any word, but I am just nodding my head like this. So that is basically a positive expression, that a positive facial expression to the person who is presenting. Another question: what does an upright body posture conveys or shows? So I am sitting straight, right? Upright. So does it show shyness? Does it show fear? Does it show confidence? Or does it show intelligence? You have the four options to you. So you are like sitting like straight like this, So this upright posture, if I am sitting like this straight, what does it convey to you? Think about it. Does it show shyness? No. Does it show fear? No. It does show the confidence, which means option C was the correct one. That somebody is sitting straight like this is actually showing the confidence, right? Coming up with the next question. So it's a reinforcement. Whatever we have discussed today, I am trying to reinforce. Which of these is not an appropriate non-verbal communication at work? Number 1, putting arm around a co-worker's shoulder, shaking hands formally, looking at the speaker with a smile, standing with the upright posture. What do you think? Of course, the first one is the correct option. My question was, which of these are not an appropriate non-verbal communication? So you should not be putting your arms around your co-worker, right? Shaking hand formally or looking at the speakers with smile or standing with an upright posture are all good non-verbal communications. They are all appropriate ones. But you are not supposed to be putting arm around your co-worker. Okay? The last question we take up here is, choose from the given option the correct example of oral communication. We discussed about oral, verbal and non-verbal, right? The oral communication. Reports, newspapers, face-to-face interaction and notes. So of course, reports are written. Newspaper is a written communication. Notes are also written communication, right? So you got the answer. Yes. So the right answer is face-to-face interaction. That is an example of oral communication. So I hope you could gather with these example that what all types we have discussed today, and I hope you could also get a sense that non-verbal communication is really of utmost importance, and you should pay attention to your body gestures, your expressions, your eye contact, space, etc. So thank you very much friends for being with me. I appreciate your time and attention. Thank you.